how to plan your day on paper or how to plan your day in writing. Show you guys some really cool ways to basically get an extra hour of production out of every day. So an extra hour of production is going to give you approximately 250 hours a year. We have about 250 business days in a year typically. So that should give you about 6 extra weeks of production, in all seriousness, if you're counting a 40-hour week. So that's what the purpose of this plan is. Folks kind of resist this a lot, planning your day on paper, but I'm going to show you a quick system that will be really powerful for you. So um, we start out here with some notes from a time management seminar that I went to. Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you can't get more time. Jim Rohn. Time management's about time choices. We have the time, we just choose to do something else, by Eric Lofholm. There's a world of difference between knowing what to do and actually doing it. Fitness guru Bill Phillips. And Alec McKenzie, who wrote a phenomenal book called The Time Trap. I suggest you pick it up. A daily plan in writing is the single most effective time management strategy, yet not one person in 10 does it. So this is going to be making you one of those 1 in 10 or less than 1 in 10. The goal of this system, again, is to increase my productivity by 1 hour per day. And here's some of my favorite points from the time management seminars I've been to. Every minute that you plan creates 4 minutes of result. So for every minute you invest in planning, again, you can expect to get 4 minutes of result. What doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. You'll see that. A very famous quote, but a very true statement. Other thing you can do is measure time and results per hour. So that's another way of measuring time. There's more than one way to measure time. So if something takes an hour typically to do, and you can hire someone to do it, for example, that gives you an extra amount of result per hour. So if you can hire 10 people to do something it would take you the time to do, that's 10 hours of result that you got that you didn't invest any time in. So it gives you an example of how you can measure time and results per hour. Great mindset. You see, I got this underline. When you plan, pat yourself on the back, and when you don't, it's neutral. I see so many people when it comes to planning their day, they intend to do well with it. They intend to do it, but again, we're all human beings, so we're not going to be perfect. We're going to fall back. You're going to get back on track. You're going to fall off track. You can get back on track. So when that happens, don't beat yourself up. Just get back on track and just acknowledge, okay, I got to plan my day. I didn't plan my day today. I got to plan my day tomorrow, and get right back on it. I do urge, though, that you make a commitment to plan every business day or business week for the rest of your life. That's the intention, and that will lead you to make it a part of your identity. So it's just something that you do, and it'll make life a lot easier for you. Less stress, less worry, less anxiety. It's good. Everything in your life gets better. Plan your work and work your plan. Yep. You know, map out your workout before you go to it. In this case, we're going to start our day with a script, plan our day, and then work the plan. Nothing's going to be perfect, of course. There's going to be distractions, but you'll get a lot more done and get a lot more productivity and feel great about it. You get what you focus on. So this will help you to focus, and then you'll get what you want because that's what you're focusing on. Also, everything counts. Everything you say or do or think counts. So this people think, oh, I don't really need to plan my day. It's almost like a little arrogance sometimes. Like I don't need to plan. I'm good. Everything counts. If you plan your day, it counts towards your success. Everything counts, and it's also something that you can do. That since we know most people aren't going to do it, like over 90% of people won't do it, or if they do, it's very inefficient, task-oriented plans. They're not outcome-oriented plans. Then it gives you an advantage on people who are maybe smarter, more talented than you, more experienced than you, and you can get the advantage on them simply because you're willing to plan. Everything counts. Everything matters. Do what you do best and pay others to do the rest. Great thing. What things can only you do? Try to delegate, hire out, ask other people to handle the other things. That's one of the best ways to optimize your results in any area. Habits determine up to 90% of our behavior. We want to get this to be a habit for ourselves and make it automatic. Most people's plan for the day is whatever messages are on their cell phone and whoever is yelling the loudest. Absolutely correct. That's what most people's plan for the day is. So they get in trouble because what they're doing is they're focusing on the urgent but not important tasks instead of the important but not urgent tasks. So this will help you focus on what's really important, especially if it's not urgent. We need that. We need to focus on things that are important, going to get us the result that are probably not going to be urgent. Those are the things that are going to change your life. Focus on completion versus perfection. Again, maybe it takes you longer than the period of time allotted to do this. Just get it done. Focus on completion. We're not trying to be perfect. We're just trying to improve. The purpose of the subconscious mind is to answer whatever question you ask yourself. So if I ask you, what's your favorite beverage when you wake up in the morning, your brain will answer it and tell you what your favorite beverage is when you wake up in the morning. So same thing here. You ask yourself a question, what will happen is your brain will answer it, and then what doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. So now, since your brain answered the question, you can put it on your schedule, much more likely to get done. Next concept is the 80-20 rule. The accomplishment of your two most important outcomes are equal in value to completion of items 3 through 10 combined. So outcomes and tasks on your plan are not created equal. Some are going to be far more valuable than others. Nobody likes a bully. Never beat yourself up if you cannot accomplish everything on your plan. If you're anything like most entrepreneurs, you're not going to get everything on your plan done. You will not get everything on your plan done. So do not set it up to beat yourself up. It's not about that. It's about getting the most valuable activities completed. Again, these are notes from time management seminars I've been to that I wanted to share. Time management truths. We all have the same amount of time. You have the same amount of time as Beyonce. You have the same amount of time as the president. You have the same amount of time as Bruce Springsteen. You have the same amount of time as anyone that you look at, Tony Robbins, that maybe is famous that you look at and go, gosh, that person's gets so much done. You have the same amount of time as they do. Okay? Time can have a future value, like interest on money in a bank account. You can do something now that you can then get a benefit from down the road. Maybe you do what I'm doing here. We make a video going through this concept. This has a future value because you can watch this video as if I am in person training you on this when I'm not actually in person training you on this. So it has a future value. I can create it once and multiple people can benefit from it. It's kind of like cloning yourself to some level. So look for ways you can make time have a future value for yourself. Some activities produce better results than others. Choose activities that create better results. As you said earlier, we have time for the things that are most important. We often choose to do something else. So focus on activities that are going to produce the results that lead to what you want. Also, time management is a learned skill. A lot of people sit here thinking they're not good at time management. You'll never get there if your mindset is that you're not good at time management. I kind of don't even like that word, the phrase time management, because it's not really time management. No one can manage time. All we can do is manage our behavior in relation to time, which is really energy management, is really what we're doing. I'm trying to get the most amount of production out of our energy. But people call it time management, so we'll roll with that. But that's my take on it. 10 secrets to time management success. Finish the day on paper before the day starts. So plan it out, visualize the completion, take it all the way to the end of the day. Hold the belief I'm a time management expert. Again, you can't get good at something as long as you tell yourself you stink at it. If you tell yourself you're not good at time management, you're never going to be good at time management. Instead, tell yourself each day I'm getting better and better at time management. I'm a time management expert. Plan every day, execute the plan. Plan the day. Set that intention, execute on the plan. A lot of people resist this planning stuff too sometimes because they feel like, hey, Chris, when I plan, I feel like I'm taking all of the, I feel like I'm taking and making everything too regimented. And that's just not true. If you master your energies and your time and your schedule, you'll have a lot more time to be spontaneous. You can't be spontaneous when you're putting out fires. When you're handling crisis, you can't be spontaneous. So this will allow you the time to be spontaneous because you'll have blocked out time. You can go, hey, be spontaneous in this period of time. Never stop learning. Read books on time management. Listen to time management audio CDs. I forgot I've had that in here. Like we listen to audio CDs anymore. But yeah, listen to time management content. My notes are that old. And attend the time management seminars. So like always be looking to improve in your time management. And the like. So always be looking to ways to improve that. Look for ways to improve on the 10 baseline time management concepts. Become a student of time management. And one of my favorite things right here is at the end of the day, ask yourself, if I was to do today over again, what would I do differently? Really powerful question. And I've been doing this for years, as you can tell by just the last couple sentences here. I've literally been using this for at least 10 years. Um, so if I was to do today over again, what would I do differently? That allows you to then figure out, oh, hey, I didn't make my calls today, or I didn't go to the gym today, or I spent too long chatting with my friend today, whatever it is. And then you can make the adjustments so that you don't turn into a slump, so that you can get the result tomorrow. It doesn't turn into a long streak. So this is how we learn and grow each day and make the you tomorrow better than the you today. Make a decision to master leverage. How can I get leverage? How can I have other people do things for me, for example, or get technology to handle a task for me? Embrace technology, which we just kind of covered in a way. One of the things you might be able to do is use technology to get your message out, because you can obviously talk to more people over technology than you can in many other ways. Maybe it's posting on your social media, or maybe it's creating videos, whatever it might be. Have consistency work for you, not against you. What would it mean to my production if I consistently plan my weeks and days? Okay, so many people believe they're not consistent. They say, I'm inconsistent, Chris. I hear it all the time. The truth of the matter is we're all consistent. Some of us are just consistently inconsistent. But whatever you do, you're consistent. So don't tell yourself you're not consistent. Instead, take the things that you're consistent about and design what things you want to be consistent about, so that you can have that everyday stuff to work for you rather than working against you. So if you consistently planned your weeks and days, what do you think would happen? I put down here, I believe you can get at least double your results. I mean, we just went through this and said if you get an extra hour of production of every day, that's 250 hours a year. You're talking literally 6 work weeks, probably 6 and a quarter work weeks. So how much more production, how much more income can you make if you had a whole extra month and a half in your year? Significant amount, a significant increase. Longer, harder, smarter. To work longer means to increase your results by literally putting in more hours. A lot of us need to actually do this. You've heard that whole work smarter, not harder. Most people don't work hard enough for the working smarter to matter. So most of us, we need to work harder first and work longer. So the work harder means to increase your results by being present. So that means you're actually in the moment. You're focused on today. You're not thinking about yesterday. You're not thinking about tomorrow. You're thinking about what you have to do today and being productive today, accomplishing more. To work smarter means to use your intelligence to create results. So there's a time for that, but these 3 realms all work together. And here's some affirmations that I use. I'm a time management master. Chris is a time management master. He is a time management master. I'm a master of delegation. Chris is a master of delegation. He is a master of delegation. I am a patient man. I am working for long-term results. I'm a powerful time management master. I have the time I need to get done the things I need to get done. And I'm a master of action. I'll go into the reasons why I write these affirmations this way when we cover the affirmation section. But you got to hold powerful beliefs around time. Some people say I'm always late. Again, if you have that belief, then you're going to keep being late. Now, I'm going to go into the questions here to plan your day. Now, I plan my week as well, and the reason I plan my week is because I had too many situations where I was forgetting what was going on that week, and I remember missing a speech once because I forgot I had it, and I had to cram to get in and make it on time for the speech. But I also plan my week. I like to do that on Sundays. I use similar questions to planning my day, but definitely want to plan your week. I'm going to skip those and go to the daily plan. So here we're going to get to the nitty-gritty here. Here's where we're actually planning our day. And do this in writing. Do this on your computer. Do it on paper. I don't really care. Whatever works for you, that you're going to see it. And yeah, let's get into logistics here. So here's the deal. So instructions, spend 14 minutes each day answering these questions in writing. Here's the deal. There's 1,440 minutes in a day. So if you spend 14 minutes planning your day, you are literally spending 1% of your day planning. So do you believe you could invest 1% of your day planning? Of course, it's just 1%. And then I do the pre-planning questions. So I'll explain these. First question is, what level am I committed to playing at during planning? So what is Chris talking about when he says, what level am I committed to? So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being I barely have a pulse, and 10 being full energy, full enthusiasm, What level of energy am I committed to putting in at planning during my planning? Okay, so I put down a 10. So what does that mean to me? I'll tell you what that means to me. That means I'm not listening to music when I'm planning, unless maybe it's some kind of classical music or something. I'm not driving. I am not texting. I am not watching videos. I am not having a conversation. I am just planning. Your planning deserves that. Then the question two is, how long will I spend planning? So I put down 14 minutes. At first, when you do this, it might take you longer than 14 minutes. It's totally okay if it takes you longer. You'll get better at it as you do it. But I'll put down what time I'm going to start and what time I'm going to stop to remind myself to do the 14 minutes. That's how long I'm going to spend planning. Then I have a really powerful affirmation here. I'm going to have a level 10 day today. I'm going to have an amazing, outstanding, productive day. In fact, today is going to be the most productive day of my entire life. That's the intention I put out. That's the expectation I set out for myself to live up to. So let's go through the questions, and you're going to customize your list of questions. There's two philosophies to this, okay? First philosophy is a lot of people won't plan because they have a lot of questions, and so they get intimidated and they don't want to answer the questions so they don't plan, okay? Me, I would rather ask a question and have myself say to myself, well, that doesn't apply for today, and skip the question. But I don't want to get myself in a position where I'm just passing over questions or I'm not planning at all. I had a client once, she only did 4 questions, which is not enough. But I would rather her have planned with 4 questions than not planned at all. She developed the skill of planning and the habit of planning. And then we started adding questions to her list. Because again, 4 is not enough. But do whatever's going to get you to plan. My take is I'm going to have more questions because I don't mind asking a question to myself and myself saying to myself, oh, I don't have an answer for that today, or that doesn't apply today. So you'll customize your list of questions. I wanted to give you guys a lot of questions so you could pick and choose like a buffet line which ones you're excited about. So you're welcome to add questions. You're welcome to take away questions. This is your customized list, but I'm just going to go through a few here. What level will I play at today? Oh, before I do that, when do you plan, right? When do you plan? When are we doing this? So I plan the evening before because I'm sharper at night. So at the end of the business day, when everything's fresh in my mind, I like to plan the next day. Plus, I like to walk in the morning of and just execute on my plan. It's already ready to rock. Other people I know, they really enjoy getting up early in the morning, having their favorite beverage while it's quiet and the world is, waking up. And they really enjoy doing that and taking their time and relaxed and in a powerful thinking way plan their day. So which one is it? Do whatever's better for you. All I care about is that you plan. So whichever works best for you, as long as you're going to plan. Now, I plan the night before. It's what I said. So just letting you know what I do. That works better for me. I find a lot of people like to plan in the evening. I know a lot of people like to plan in the day. So I really think it is kind of an individual thing. So the question is, what level will I play at today? Again, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you barely have a pulse, and 10 being full energy, full enthusiasm. Some people get intimidated by this question, though, and they'll tell me, gosh, Chris, like you can't play at a level 10 every day. And I tell them, you're right. You can't play at a level 10 every day. But if you play at a 7 or higher on a consistent level, over time it'll equal a 10. So what I do is I'll put a 10 down, and sometimes I'm feeling like a 4. But if I put a 10 down, I'll probably do an 8. Again, you're setting an expectation for yourself. At the end of the day, how will I know if I played at that level? So how would you know if you played at a level 10? So only you can answer that, but maybe you'd say, hey, I would get started early in the day. I would get started on time. I would accomplish this particular task, whatever that is. So get clear on that. At the end of the day, how would I know if I even played at a level 10? What would my ideal day look like? Maybe you have a schedule of what your model day looks like. I would suggest you get one if you don't have one. What's your model day look like? Pardon me. And then another one might be when will I go to the gym? Or exercise, right? Whatever that is for you. Pardon me. So when will I do that tomorrow? So when are you going to do that? So get that down. What will I do for my spouse or significant other today? This is a really good one. Some people don't like to plan their personal life at the same time they plan their business life, and that's fine if you want to take these questions out. I do. I do both at the same time because I do both every day. So for me, I just plan the whole darn thing. But you decide what's best for you. So what will I do for my spouse or significant other? Obviously, that'll come to mind. What will I do for each of my kids today if you have children? I like this one because I have 2 children. So when I say each of my kids, it helps me to remember to do something for each individual. What appointments do I have scheduled today? Pretty self-explanatory. Is there anything I need to finish from yesterday? Again, self-explanatory. If I had to do yesterday over again, what would I do differently? Or if you're planning your day the night of, like the night after the day, you would say, well, if I could do today over again, what would I do differently? Again, huge difference maker question. Okay, who do I have to follow up with in my pipeline? So if you are an entrepreneur, you probably have customers that start out as people interested in your product or service, and they end up giving you, cash at the end of the day. The distance between those 2 points is your pipeline. So who do you need to follow up with to move them through the pipeline? What leads do I have to follow up with? Maybe you have people that you need to reschedule sales presentations with. Maybe you have people you need to follow up with to find out what their buying decision is, yes or no. What must I accomplish today? Again, pretty self-explanatory. This is one I like. If I was to act from a sense of urgency, what 2 actions would I take today? Ongoing rapid results come from a sustained sense of urgency. So many times we see ourselves doing things because we didn't have a sense of urgency to do them. So if I was going to have a sense of urgency, what 2 things would I do today? What actions would I take? Great question. What is one risk? I don't really like the word risk, but let's just go with it. What is the one risk or action I can take to move my business forward? What's the one thing that's out of your comfort zone or something that you can do to move your business forward that you already know if you did it, it would move your business forward? Right? Maybe it's doing some public speaking. Maybe it's hiring an assistant, right? Those kinds of things. Maybe something like that's in your way. So what would that be? When will I spend an hour today focusing on my personal growth? So this one I really like because I see so many people binge on personal growth. They spend like days watching videos. And here's how I do it. I try to block out half an hour to an hour a day to grow myself. Watching one of my mentor's videos or a TED Talk or reading a book, whatever it might be. I want to get a little better every day. And I try to do a little bit every day so that I have the structure in place to implement the new ideas. I find if I go and I watch 4 hours of content, I have too many ideas to implement. So I like to nibble away at it, take it in smaller bites. So that's one of the things I do is I block an hour a day. What new technique or idea will I implement today? Again, you're probably going to be constantly doing that. Something new you're going to be putting into play. What's one project I will focus on until I complete it? Most of us have a project. I tell you what, if you don't have a project, this is what I do. I have 2 lists. I have one list, which is my activities for during business hours. And there's typically about 5 or 6 things on that list. It's a very short list. And then I have my activities for after business hours. And guess where my projects go? That's where my projects go. What are the projects? I prioritize that list. When I get a new one on there, I pre-prioritize it in with the other ones that I must do. So that way I always know what I need to start with, what's the next project I'm going to focus on until I complete it. So you like that idea, you're welcome to run with it. 19. What will I do today to make progress on this project? Great. Maybe it's boom. I'm going to block out 30 minutes and I'm going to, handle this and this on it and make progress on it. What are my 2 most valuable outcomes today? Phenomenal question. You notice we didn't say important, we said valuable. And the reason I do that is because sometimes valuable is something that's money and sometimes it's not money. Maybe you're, I can't remember I can't tell you how many times I've done like a seminar or something or a webinar or whatever, and it wasn't something that was the most important from the standpoint of money-wise maybe, but it was something I could create and then I could use for, theoretically at least, for years to help serve people for many years. That's a pretty valuable outcome to get accomplished. So what are my 2 most valuable outcomes today? Maybe it's setting a certain amount of appointments. Maybe it's going on a certain number of sales presentations. Maybe it's having an important conversation in your life. meeting with a big joint venture partner, any number of things that it could be. So be clear on what that is, because if you get that done, that's going to be the center of your progress. What have I been procrastinating on that I will take action on today? Who doesn't have that list? Cleaning out the garage, cluttering your desk, finding a place to put your keys and your wallet when you get home so you don't waste time looking for them, right? That type of a thing. We've all got those things. Um, so what will you take action on, if any? What can I do today to make progress on my goals and dreams? Maybe it's writing down your goals and dreams. Maybe you don't have it in writing. Maybe you're not clear on what the reasons why you want those things. Maybe it's some refreshing your plans. Any number of things it could be. So what are the 3 things I'm committed to taking action on before I go to bed tonight? Again, a great question. I love that. Maybe it's something spiritually minded. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's doing some reading. Maybe you go, hey, I'm going to get off electronic devices so I can start a bedtime routine so I can go to bed and sleep on time. What time will I go to bed tonight? Some people think that's a little micromanaging, but I'll tell you why I do that. The reason I do that is because a lot of times I notice what people will do is they will stay up way too late and the next day they're totally wiped out and unproductive. But if you have a time to go to bed that you've set aside, you're far more likely to be close to that time. And then the rest of the day, you will be much more likely to be productive. One moment. A little water here. Excuse me. Okay. What time will I wake up in the morning? Really important. I mean, how many people have a commitment in their mind or an intention in their mind? Hey, I need to get up earlier. I'm not a morning person. You know what? Don't tell yourself you're not a morning person. Tell yourself, I love getting up early in the morning and getting a head start on the day. Or this is just the time that I wake up. So what time will I wake up in the morning? So that's a great thing to be clear on. Another thing I like to do is I like to say, when will I stop working today? Because for a lot of people, they don't have a set time when they're going to stop working. And if you have that, there's 2 main benefits. One is the people in your life will know when you're going to stop working so they know what to expect. And then that way they can help hold you accountable to it, and it helps them to recognize your business is not more important than them. And also a lot of that success is around managing expectations. So if they know what to expect, then they won't be upset most of the time. So that's a great thing to get clarity on. The other reason why it's important to kind of have a time to stop working is because it'll force you to be more efficient. There may be things that you've been putting off doing in the day. You didn't really want to do them, but then as you see the end of the day coming, you realize, gosh, I don't want to go into the next day with this, so I'm just going to blow it out. So that's another reason why you want to have an end point to your day. 26, what else do I need to accomplish today? Again, self-explanatory. So those are my planning questions. Again, this is to get you outcome focused, not task focused. We're not trying to reorganize your files. This is about making real progress on your outcomes and having the universe or the society or the world have to respond to you because you're being proactive, not reactive. Okay, that's what this is about. So you can take those and customize whatever you like, add, take away, but that's what I'm going to ask myself to get my list. Now we're going to do the post-planning questions. And the post-planning questions I don't change. Those are where the magic really happens. So I'm going to go through these for you. First one is, do I really have to do this today? So if I don't really have to do this today, I'll put one line through it, or I will asterisk it, something like that, so I can still read it. And people sometimes will ask me, gosh, Chris, like, why are we putting off for tomorrow what we can do today? The reason is because it isn't that important to do today. Taxes are a great example. If it's January 15th, doing taxes may not be the most important thing. But if it's April 1st, probably a pretty important time to have a sense of urgency around it. So somewhere in there, you're going to go, okay, I got to do this today, right? So if it doesn't need to be done today within reason, cross it off the list. I can't tell you how many times I see people do something that could have waited for weeks or just isn't that important. It isn't going to produce a result. But it's easier for them to do than the thing they don't really want to do, so they do it anyway. So anyway, do I really have to do this today? Does this really need to be done today? Put a line through it, set it aside. But be sure you don't scribble it out. I've done that before and it felt like a real dummy because I couldn't read it. So don't be like me, okay? That's one reason why I'm going through this, so you guys don't be like me and do the stupid mistakes. Okay, then apply the 80-20 rule. If you don't know what the 80-20 rule is, it's the Pareto principle. Most people are familiar with it. 20% of the activities produce 80% of the results. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my list of outcomes, my list of tasks, however you want to look at it. And for every 5 items, I'm going to pick one that, when completed, will provide the most value out of those 5, and I will asterisk or highlight it. So let's say I have 40 items on my list. That way I can narrow my list of 40 items down to 8. Then I can reprioritize my 8 items 1 through 8, which helps me to get down to the next question, which are what are the 2 activities on my list that will provide the most value. So those are the 2 I really, really want to blow out. And I also want to point out something. I don't have this on the list, but I had another mentor of mine, business mentor, was a phenomenal guy. And one of the things he taught me was that we really only have time to do about, let's say 30 items a day. Because his argument was everything takes 15 minutes on average to do. You know, some things take an hour, some things take 5 minutes, but on average everything takes 15 minutes. So that means you really only have time to do 4 things an hour, right? So that's the distinction that brought out, that I thought that was really, really important, was that it's another way of looking at time management. And if you like that way of looking at it and it kind of gets you thinking about how to be productive, then, by all means do that. So that means I only got time to get done 32 things. Then, that's may give you a sense of urgency. Okay, so we got our 2 activities on my list that provide the most value. Then the next question I ask is, can I chunk any of these activities? If you don't know what chunking is, I'll illustrate it this way. Let's say you have to go to the dry cleaner and drop off some dry cleaning, and you also have to go to the grocery store. Well, maybe you can drop off your dry cleaning at the grocery store. I know of certain delivery services, they purposely plan things so they don't have to make left-hand turns. I try to make as many right-hand turns as possible because right-hand turns are much faster. So those are the kinds of things. How can I plan my route? How can I chunk my activities so I can save some time, right? So is there anything you can chunk? 31, can I delegate any of these activities? Yeah, who could you have? Look, you want to be doing things that really only you can do. And then everything else, do what you do best and pay others to do the rest. Try to get someone else to do it. Delegate it to your spouse or significant other. Delegate it to a boss. Hire someone to do it. Ask someone else to do it. Can you delegate this? This is really hard for a lot of entrepreneurs because in their mind they feel like, well, nobody can do it as good as me. But here's the fallacy with that, a problem with that, is if you overload yourself, you're probably going to make some mistakes. Another person may not make the mistake. And even if they do make the mistake, it's a learning experience. So at some point we have to let go of a lot of these things in a business to really grow and let other people help us. So you want to start with things that you don't really have to be the one doing. And I also see this happen a lot with people when it comes to trying to make more money. Part of time management is being clear on how much you want to make per hour. So if you want to make $50 an hour, you want to make $100 an hour, you want to make $250 an hour, whatever the number is, doesn't matter, okay? You decide that number. But if you let's just pick $100 an hour for sake of simplicity. If you want to make $100 an hour, you cannot be doing activities yourself that you could pay someone $20 an hour, $25 an hour, $40 an hour to do. What you want to do is you want to spend your time only on activities that produce a result of $100 an hour. So it's another way to use time management to grow your income, and another way also to not get stuck just working hard and not very smart. So can I delegate any of these activities? 32, really important question. It's our last one. Are there any activities I need blocked time for? Amazing question. We're up to 4 times more productive when we block out our time. So if you block out your time and you're focused on it, you will get so much more done. What are some examples of things people really ought to be blocking their time out for? Well, most of us block out our time for sales presentations or appointments with our clients. But are we blocking out checking email? One of the biggest time wasters people have is checking email. They leave their email browser open or they're texting available, and then every time they get a ding, they stop what they're doing and go and check the email or go and check the text message. Set that aside. Pick certain times of the day, maybe 3 times a day you're going to check email, and schedule that. For 15 minutes, I'm going to check email. Social media is another great example. A lot of people keep their social media up, and then it dings them all the time, all day, and they're stopping what they're doing to check it. You know what? I got to be on social media for my business, you probably do for your business if you're working with people. So if that's going to be the case, block out 15 or 20 minutes a day, a couple times a day, 3 times a day maybe. That's an hour a day still. And block that time out. Go in, do the things you got to do on your social media, post your stuff. Um, Posting on Hootsuite or something like that's great to do a little time management help as well on that, so you can schedule your posts throughout the day. Comment on what you need to comment on, and then get the heck out of there. Get on to the other activities. Don't be spending all day on email and social media, for example. A lot of times people have conversations over email when they could just be picking up a phone and have a 2-minute conversation and handle whatever that issue was. Or texting as well. So look for areas that you need block time for. You'd be a lot more productive if you set that time aside and you didn't try to multitask. Because a lot of people think multitasking actually, they wear like a badge of honor. I'm a great professional multitasker. First of all, no, you're not. Even computers don't multitask. Multitasking has been scientifically proven to lower intelligence. You are not more productive, even if you feel like you are, by multitasking. Anytime you switch tasks, it has an energy cost. So one of the things that I'll do, for example, is when I make my phone calls in my business, I make all of my phone calls the same type of phone call at the same time. So what's Chris talking about? Why is this in a time management discussion? It's in a time management discussion because if I'm calling to set appointments, for example, I call everyone that I need to set an appointment with at the same time. I don't mix in follow-up phone calls for buying decisions or joint venture partners or checking on status of an order, following up on my business cards that I sent out, or getting a video back from an editor, or any of that kind of stuff. That's all blocked out in one chunk. And the reason why is that way I don't have to sit there and waste time thinking about what I'm going to say to that next group of people, because I've already handled it. I'm doing one at a time. Because a lot of people don't realize that you waste a lot of time task switching. So not to go on a rant about that, but it's an important distinction around time management, is these things can take a lot of time. Another thing I do is when I make notes after following up with people, left a message or whatever, I have a list of leads and I update that list. I don't go to my database every time I leave a message and just to put left a message, because it takes time for me to switch into that browser, go there, click the button, type it in, hit save. That all takes time that I could be saving by just putting it on the list. In the movie Pursuit of Happiness, it gives you an example of successful people. In the movie Pursuit of Happiness, Will Smith in that movie talks about that. This is a movie about a guy who's a single dad and has to get out of work at a period of time so he can get to the shelter with his son so they can sleep in a bed, right? So one of the things he figured out, of course, this is the 80s, so he's using a phone where, like back in the day, you picked up the phone. He learned he didn't need to hang up the receiver. What he would do is he would hold the receiver to his ear and use his finger on his other hand to hang up the phone. And if I remember correctly, I might be slightly off on this, he figured he could save 8 minutes doing that for a day, which meant he gave him a chance to get a few extra phone calls in order to be more productive. So little things like that can make a really, really big difference at times, because we're not looking at how can I be productive? What do I need to block my time out for? Another thing I see is a big time waster for a lot of people that are entrepreneurs, especially people like coaches, is they spend way too long with clients. And if you're supposed to have an hour with a client and you spend an hour and a half with a client and you do that twice a day, then you're just killing an hour of your day that's not productive, and it's not good for your client either, because they can't consume the information. They get into brain mush mode anyway. But anyway, here's the point. You go through these questions, now you will have a powerful system, reducing stress, reducing anxiety. You know what to do next. You have a You have everything corralled around you. So what happens sometimes, you ever had it happen? What happens when things go haywire? Well, I'll tell you what happens when things go haywire. First of all, this is a great system. I want you to use it. But if things go wild, what I'll do is I'll go back to the 80-20 rule. If I get a bunch of new tasks, and sometimes if I'm too busy to sit there and just plan my day again, I'll just reprioritize the activities. Just to kind of shortcut through it. If it's noon or something and things get out of hand or whatever, I'll do that so I can get back to my basics, back to my baseline. So take this, go ahead and use it. Let me know any questions that you have. But this will be a powerful tool for your life, and it'll be something that you can use for decades if you would like to. And of course, we can always improve on these things, but it's a great baseline to start from. So enjoy. Talk to you later.